All right, guys, let me start this video, which will be for December 29th, my watch list video. Let me start it by reminding you that this is a holiday week. The market's closed on Friday for New Year's Day, and volume's really thin out there. It's Kate Moss thin out there. So, this is not the week to try to end your year with a bang. It's to try to skate into the new year with what you earned, and give or take a little bit, but do not get too involved as far as position size goes throughout the rest of the year, okay? Just take it easy. It's pretty dead out there, all right? So anyway, there you can pause the video and read this little disclaimer here if you like. It just explains that I'm looking for stuff that could give me a trade tomorrow. These are not long-term charts, okay? Or long-term suggestions. And I will only take them tomorrow if I get a proper intraday setup in the markets with me, okay? So here we go. JRJC, which it almost seems too obvious, right? You had the gap up here and it's kind of building, and if it gets over these highs, it could rip. It almost seems too obvious, and the market's pretty thin, so I'll just put that on your radar, but I'm not in love with it. CLR, I had this on Bounce Watch a few days ago, and it looked like this with this massive volume, looked like a bottom. You got a really nice bounce from below 20 to 25, and now actually went a little almost closer to 26 over 2.5 days. Now a couple days lower. You had the gap down today, but it bounced a little bit. And this actually goes on Bounce Watch. If oil catches a bid, this one could be nice. Look at natural gas today, UNG, the ETF for natural gas. Big volume and a push higher. So that kind of made me think, hey, some of these oil bounces could easily catch another move. So you've got 2 days lower after a big move. I kind of like it as a potential long. Of course, you can keep an eye on oil tomorrow before you take any kind of trade in that. PN, which gapped up and ran on, let's see, this would have been Thursday, which was Christmas Eve, right? Then today basically goes all the way back down and fills the gap. But because it had this move, I don't know. I think shorts are going to be a little bit nervous on any kind of a bounce. So that might be worth watching for a potential long. Again tomorrow. Another one not in love with. I'm perfectly content to just try to play news plays and so on the rest of the week. But EARS is kind of interesting because you had this big pop on Thursday. Then today it tried to continue and then ended up closing fairly close to its lows. It's a thin stock. I'd like to see it maybe come down a little bit more, maybe take out today's lows, and then I might look for a turn higher. I don't love that one, but it's got really good volume for that stock. All right. Let's see. SRNE. You can tell by my tone I'm not in love with this list. SRNE, and it's mostly due to the holidays. SRNE had a very nice gap up last week and went from a low of 830 to 983 that day, and actually went through 10 the next day. Now you've got 2 days lower on lower volume. This is a pretty good setup. Back to the 8-day. Close to the 20-day. This is a pretty good setup for a bounce back higher. So it's probably my favorite of this list. FXCM. This had a crazy move today. You can't really tell because of that monster gap down, but then when I do this, the low today was 1121. It went all the way to 1974, ended up closing at 1574. So, I don't have a play on this one, but if it does sell off and maybe down flushes below a whole number like 14, and this is all hypothetical, I have no idea what it's going to do, but with this kind of a move, I really want to watch that for a potential trade tomorrow, but it's going to have to give me an intraday setup. VLTC is kind of interesting here. You had this, first of all, you had this move from 337 to 860 in 1 day. That's a massive move. Okay, then it just did nothing since then. A little over a week ago, you had a nice move from 455 to almost $6. Again, that's a really nice percentage move. It's been flagging since. Today, it tried to get going. It went to 569. And remember, the high from this day was 594. So I do like this over 569. In other words, it takes out this high, could easily break through this high, maybe come up and test the 200-day there. So I do like this one, but I need to see some volume come in. That's VLTC. I'm going to put Lumber Liquidators LL back on watch. Again, you had this trend line here. Sellers came in today. It didn't give any kind of trade today. I had it on watch today, but I actually like to see a little bit of a pullback here because, it already run up like 3 days in a row. So I wasn't that interested in taking it over this trend line. But now that you've got a little selling come in on very little volume, this might be ready to turn back up and break this trend line. And then I'm going to put CAPN on watch again too. It didn't do anything today, and there's just no volume, but keep an eye out. This CAPN gets news one of these days, it's really set up for a breakout. Without news, I just don't think it's going to get going, but I do like this chart a lot. So anyway, quick glance at the SPY. Sold off this morning, but ended up closing at its highs, and it's really 205-ish. It's really in a range between 210, which it peaked above right here, but spent about a week below 210, and then a very clear bounce off of 200. So really what you're looking at is very low volume and right in the middle of its recent range, right in the middle. So I don't know what to expect. Again, keep your position size really low. It's a holiday week, and hopefully some of these will play out, and hopefully we'll catch some gap plays tomorrow as well. All right, have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow.